Good evening, everyone. We are here tonight to continue off of my small video yesterday and take a look at these two faces. This is Tristan and Brittany Hull. They live near Red Mountain in Wisconsin. Beautiful neighborhood with beautiful ski mountain in the background, lakes nearby, picturesque community. And here we are. The madness continues. The darkness is continuing. We got to figure out how it came to this. I have attempted to obtain documents in this case, and they have quite the process of physically going in and sitting down and viewing them and selecting the ones you want and printing them and paying for them and all that. And it's just not as simple as many other cases are at this point. But these people probably were not on your radar. You probably weren't, you probably never heard their name. And that's the problem. People need to know about people like this. People that rank up there with, in my opinion, allegedly, in my opinion, because no, they've not been convicted yet, with Lori Vallow and Jody Hildebrandt, and others who, Chad Daybell, but I would lean more on a Ruby Franke, Jody Hildebrandt in this particular instance, and you'll understand why as I kind of walk through what happened in this case. So this began in October of 2023. Brittany and Tristan, she is 31, he is 38. This is not Brittany's biological daughter. This is Tristan's daughter. So Brittany would be the stepmother. We will not be releasing the name of the victim. They are facing charges of child neglect resulting in great bodily harm and child abuse causing great bodily harm for abusing somebody under the age of 18. There have been some amended complaints, I believe, kind of increasing the charges at this point, and I'll pull that up in a second. According to the criminal complaints, on October 15th, a deputy responded to the Hulls' Rib Mountain home for a medical emergency. When the deputy arrived, he saw an emergency medical technician performing CPR on a child in an ambulance. The life-saving measures were performed for 25 minutes. The deputy talked to Tristan, who said the girl had drank a protein shake and started having trouble breathing, according to the complaint. He said the girl began to gargle the shake and could not swallow. He said the girl then stiffened up and became unresponsive. He said his wife was the one with the girl during the medical emergency. He said the girl was 15 and had stopped growing about 2 or 3 years earlier, according to the complaint. He said the girl was 4 feet tall and weighed 50 pounds, according to the complaint. He said the girl had a history of health problems, but he only specified a condition that caused poor blood circulation. 5 days later, on October 20th, a detective was assigned to do a follow-up investigation on the medical emergency. The girl had been taken to Marshfield Medical Center and weighed 58 pounds. 58 pounds. And again, that is the size of a child half her age. Unbelievable. Hospital staff told the detective the girl's organs had begun to fail because of severe dehydration. She also went into bone marrow failure because of malnutrition. The medical staff ran several tests and ruled out any medical condition that would have prevented the girl from gaining weight. They also did not find anorexic or other behaviors that indicated self-inflicted harm, according to the complaint. In the hospital, the girl said she was happy she could eat what she wanted. She indicated she was beginning to feel better. She gained 4.85 pounds in 8 days and had no problem with any of the food. Brittany had told the detective she had worked with a nutritionist to develop a diet for the girl to help with her brain function because of ADHD. The detective found Brittany and Tristan were not following the nutritionist's recommendations. Excuse me. And that the girl had appropriate brain function. The victim then told the detective that Tristan and Brittany would not allow her to eat breakfast or snacks. She said that Brittany was very strict with her and she would get in trouble when she tried to eat snacks without permission. She was homeschooled, said she was placed at a corner table in the living room for most of the day and was not allowed to eat with other people in the house. The girl had lunch at dinner time and had a meal before bed. Brittany also limited her water intake to 16 ounces. If she asked for more food, Brittany would tell her to wait until the next mealtime. The detective found a lock on the girl's bedroom door and all her bedroom windows. There also was a working alarm on the girl's bedroom door, according to the complaint. There were books taped to the mattress of her bed that would force her to sleep in a certain position. She had no blankets or bedding on the mattress. A detective found videos, yes, from a security camera in the girl's room. The videos showed the girl forced to stand with her hands up for hours. She was shaking and crying in the videos. Both Tristan and Brittany were seen entering the bedroom and forcing her to raise her hands higher, even though she was crying and shaking. As the girl began to recover, she allegedly told investigators that she is homeschooled and that her stepmother did not allow her to eat breakfast with her siblings or eat snacks. The girl was allegedly told by her parents that she had ADHD and an undiagnosed medical condition that made it difficult for her to gain weight. Because of this, court records state the girl was told that her stepmother put her on a special diet that she researched herself. Doctors at the hospital did not find any such medical condition. Court records show. So there was also something, I believe, about a pastor with the church. So she had no blankets, no bedding. Let's see. If they're convicted, they each face a maximum sentence of 65 years in prison. I'm just going to double check to see because there was an amended complaint. So let's first go with Tristan. So the date his case was filed was December 7th, 2023. He is currently charged with chronic neglect of a child with the consequences great bodily harm, modifier party to a crime. That's a D-class felony, and a second count of child abuse intentionally causing great bodily crime with a modifier as a party to a crime. And his next hearing is June 27th at 10 a.m. and it's a pre-trial conference. I hope to be there for that. And hopefully in the meantime, I'm going to get more documents. And we are going to check on Brittany really quick just to verify if her, let's see. Okay. Chronic neglect of a child, consequence, great bodily harm, and count 2, child abuse, intentionally causing great bodily harm, both with modifiers of party to a crime. He is scheduled for 10 a.m. She is scheduled for 10:10 a.m. They have done, looks like most recently the defense has requested discovery materials. They did find probable cause at the last hearing, which was April 10th. And she pled not guilty at that time. That would have been at the April 10th hearing. They are actually both being held in jails that are not in the county in which the offenses occurred. I don't know if that is an overpopulation situation or if that is a safety situation for them. And she also had filed a communication on March 1st complaining about not having any contact with her attorney. Let's see. She had counsel appointed December 11th. So the search warrants were executed between November 3rd and looks like November 13th. And the probable cause hearing was on November 3rd, 2023. And they are both being held on $1 million cash bonds, and there is no contact with the victim, no contact with the co-defendant, and no contact with the other minor children that are in the home. So I hope to physically attend as many of their hearings as possible, because these are people who are going to fly right under the radar because they didn't have a big YouTube channel like Ruby Frankie did, or the conference circuit, the religious conference circuit like Jody Hildebrandt did. So these two are likely to fly under the radar, and these people need to come out, because I can't even tell you how infuriated it made me when the sentences were handed down in the case of Ruby Frankie and Jody Hildebrandt, and neither of which, one didn't even try to pretend they were remorseful. The other one feigned remorse, in my opinion, way overdid pretending to be remorseful. And there's a sickness and evil. And if you just turn your back, close your eyes, and pretend that this kind of evil isn't out there, this is just going to continue to happen. So at this point, we don't know how they got to where they are. I have looked at, which I wouldn't share because they do have minor children in them, wedding photos and some family photos, and you just would not expect it. You go in their neighborhood and you drive around, and you just would not expect this kind of evil to be happening. And the eyes that I'm staring at on my screen aren't even the eyes of the people, in these social media presences that they share. I don't know yet what has happened here. I don't know if there is substance abuse, mental illness, or if they're sadists. I don't know yet. We're at the very, very early stages. Again, I'm going to try to get as much of the documents and the discovery as I possibly can. I imagine there's going to be some things that are going to get sealed here pretty soon, because some of the documents to me would be extremely personal to the victim. And so I would imagine, being a minor, that at some point they are going to be sealed. But this is, for the longest time, I thought, what is in the water in Idaho? What's going on in the Idaho, Utah, valley there, where these just sick and awful things are happening. And then, in the past few years, we've also been saying, well, what is in the water in Tennessee? And here I am, what's in the water in Wisconsin? And, it's not the states. It isn't. It's the people. And when you get, in my opinion, like a slap on the wrist, like Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke got, to me, that was a slap on the wrist. Just like I feel many SOs on the registry, I feel like they get to reoffend so much because they are given so many opportunities to be put back out in the community. And in my opinion, this to me rises to attempted homicide. How does it not? How did it not in the case for Ruby and Jody? How? I mean, this person had to have life-saving measures, this victim, for 25 minutes. How is that not attempted homicide? Maybe those charges will come. I pray those charges will come. I really, really do. Because this goes right into tomorrow morning. I believe it is 8 o'clock Central. Or is it 8:30? Let me check my calendar. So 8:30 tomorrow, Katrina Bauer, mother, if you can say that, the person who gave birth to this absolutely, the most beautiful baby boy in the whole entire world, Elijah Boo. And so tomorrow is her hearing, which is not the same as the later hearing that she's going to have, I believe, on the 30th, where she is trying to get her bond reduced. Bond reduction, do you have some work you need to get out and take care of? Some cleanup to do? What? No. This poor, beautiful baby boy, and the heinous acts committed by Katrina, Jesse, they deserve the highest of punishments. And thank goodness we just saw Stephen Stearns get, finally charged with homicide. And I absolutely hope that more charges will be coming down for the mother. I really do. And so at this point in time, let's see. Oh, this is Jesse. He's charged with chronic neglect of a child, party to a crime. And I do have some documents, several documents on both of them that I will try to go through the court documents with you guys tomorrow. I don't know, sometimes these hearings end up taking 2 minutes. Sometimes they end up taking 45 minutes to an hour. And they're not very clear what this particular hearing is going to be regarding. And while it is on the same floor as the typical courtroom, it has a room number. So we're anticipating that we will be able to use the usual court live stream to stream the proceedings tomorrow morning. But, there is always a chance that this might be held, I don't want to say off the record, but off the stream if they don't have a live feed into that room that they're going to be having the proceedings in. In that particular case, I have not had any problems getting all of my document requests fulfilled. But it just so happens that the county where this particular crime came into play here with the Hulls is just going to take more legwork, and that's fine. We'll do it because this is my purpose in trying to build this community. It's to find out how this happened, how it could have been prevented, how can we, the people that care, stop these things from happening, what are the things that need to transpire to make that done. So I hope to build a community around that. And I am not going to talk about the actual case. It's the 60-day anniversary that Sebastian has been missing. I shared a video earlier that was just of his photos. So I will not talk about his case, but to put it to rest right now, because I don't know why people aren't able to answer this question, but there was some information that was shared about a search group and someone assisting in that search, and that they felt, I don't know, I would probably say, maybe they were trying to be intimidated or what, but they decided they were not going to go and continue that. And the reason I kind of bring it up with the cases we're discussing here right now is because while they may not want to talk about what prompted that situation, I have all the documents, I have images, I have news articles, I have all the information to back it up, so I know I'm not misleading anybody. And I'm not going to go through all of that here tonight, but I don't have a problem going through it tomorrow, because I will not be pushed around or backed down or be kicked around. But the fact of the matter is that they called out somebody who is a registered offender, and their feelings were, they when they discovered that this person was a registered offender, they were probably appalled and wanted to stay away from them. And I didn't get into the back and forth of YouTube videos between the parties, but it is not an alleged, it is a fact. I have the court records. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to go into this a whole lot tonight, but I can tell you right from the court record that the person did not plead to, they were charged with multiple Class 1 and Class 2 and Class 4 felonies. It looks like there was a lot of modifications to the charges. But the initial charges would be as followed: aggravated criminal sexual abuse of a victim ages 13 to 16, criminal SA against a family member, basically under the age of 18. There was a couple of those. Criminal SA, where the other party could not consent. They eventually looks like, that they kind of got the situation pled down. And in the end, they were convicted of the crime, and they are registered, actively registered. Now, the reason there should be an uproar about this, because a lot of people like to not, maybe they just overlook or ignore things because, this one's got this cool YouTube channel and they're out there walking around, and this one's got theirs and they're going to go and bring their dog or bring their boat or do this. Is it important to vet the people that you're affiliating yourself with in a situation like this? Yes. Yes. Because when you are enlisting the help of a registered offender and you are pulling them all over the country and involving them in crimes that involve minors, it matters. It matters. And I can elaborate a lot more on this maybe at some point tomorrow if I get to it. But a lot of people are asking about it all over social media. Well, there's your answer. The person maybe wasn't happy that they were called out because of their past crime, and the rest of it, might have been words exchanged between all the parties involved. I don't know. But what sparked it basically was the discovery that this person was a registered offender. And yeah, they're out there on missing person missions. And I am a proud, very faithful woman, and I have a whole lot of forgiveness in me. But no, if my child was missing, I would not enlist the help. And I don't know that any of the parents involved enlisted this person's help. But I would not want a registered offender within a 10-foot pole of my missing child case. And I don't know what other cases they get involved in, but no. I mean, unfortunately, that's where we live in when there are crimes committed against minors and you're convicted in a court of law and you're required to register. That does follow you and affect the rest of your life. And that's the world we live in. And you know what? I completely agree with it, because those are the most heinous crimes out there. And this person might choose to argue that it wasn't what it looked like, or it was a one-off or something like that. But there's some history. Not saying this person's history, but I'm not going to get into all that. But I just wanted to deliver the information because it doesn't seem like anybody seems to have that fact. That is, the question floating around is, why did these people, who threatened these people to get them to back out of the search? And there's a lot of people that are saying it's the mother and the stepfather that are intimidating them or threaten them to get them to back off the search. That is not what happened. That is not who it was. There is beef, as you might call it, because, their little secret was discovered. But when you create a big, popular, public platform, you better not have something like that hanging out over your head unless you're willing to have it discovered at some point. So that's that. That's that's the tea I'm spilling tonight for you at the end here. So we are going to continue to stay on top of these faces that you see on your screen. And we are going to make sure that there is justice for the victim. We are going to make sure that I'm doing a very, very deep dive, and I will also be adding to Patreon a lot of the court documents that I'm able to go and get my hands on, and I will upload copies of those there as well. And I also have to get working on adding the ones for Katrina Bauer and Jesse Bang. So if you are interested in seeing what comes of the hearing tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Central Time for Katrina Bauer, I will have a live stream going of the court proceedings. Again, it's supposed to be in it's the same floor, but is not the usual courtroom. So hopefully they will still have the stream as normal. And any information that I have from that, I will be getting as much of it, on these stories as possible out to you. And then I will also be getting documents uploaded into Patreon for the community members. And I also just want to add, if you click on the community tab of this YouTube page, that's where I share non-video type things, but they're super important. People's faces of the missing, maybe small updates. And I still wanted to put it out there, and I hope to get some more stuff, but I finally got a family member, a family friend to reach out to me just tonight. Of Tamantas, her age 19, went missing while visiting in Kansas City, Missouri. It could be a couple of different things. It could be, that he had a mental break. I have done videos on this already. If you wanted to go back and look at them, it could be that he had a mental break. It could be that he was given something and that caused a certain kind of reaction, but his family is just trying to search and find answers in a city that's not the one they live in. And his family is split between St. Louis, Missouri, and Tennessee. And yes, he is still missing Adrian. Thankfully, just tonight, literally an hour and a half ago, I was in a private chat with people, trying to work on some things. And I was asking about certain locations and if they had flyers there, because maybe I could email them, and that they're just printing out one piece of paper to post in their business or things like that. And I said, I've been trying to get some of these things to the family, and then finally someone who is a close friend and is in contact with his grandmother reached out, and at this point she's going to be kind of the person I'll be able to communicate with. But his case is so hopeful, but yes, scary, unfamiliar, seedy situation. We just don't know what happened. I personally think there is a possibility whether he, smoked marijuana or maybe just an interaction that he had with someone later in life. You can have a trigger, and maybe you don't even know what it was that triggered you, and you can have late in life onset of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. These things really do can come on later in life, and all it takes is the right stressful circumstances or situation. And so, and a lot of the things that I've researched on it, I noticed a little bit of disorganized thinking, potentially some hallucinations or paranoia. And so the positive is that I believe he can be found. Now, the hard part is the caution that would be needed in approaching him. The grandmother has said repeatedly, like, if you think it's him, take a picture so I can verify if it's him. And he had black and red in his hair. And some people were saying, well, it looked like it was pink, so I don't think it was him. And it's like, okay, after time fades, as we all know, whenever we've colored our hair, the color fades, it lightens, it could have been him. Now, I have tried sharing, mind you, my Facebook page today got shut down. Somebody didn't like what I was, did not like something I said or was doing. But so I don't know which case I posted about or what, but somebody did enough to get that shut down. So I guess I feel a sense of pride in that. But, hair can dye. He might not be wearing the same clothes, but he does have visible tattoos. I believe one of them is Mike's or Mikey's World. I tried telling them there was a tip on FCB about being seen on 79th, but they wanted a message on their page where the tip was in the comments. So hopefully clarity comes. Yes, and I believe I saw in this chat that particular street being mentioned. But there was a lot of people in this chat who were talking about areas very close to where he went missing, that there are no flyers. They didn't know this was going on. But in my mind, if he is in any state of mind where maybe he's like afraid, but maybe he is not afraid of his family, because if you get paranoid state of mind, you might turn on your family. Not turn on them, but I guess you might be paranoid that they're bad people, even if they're not bad people, and you just want to avoid anything and anything that is familiar. But if that was not the case, and he was trying to get somewhere familiar, I keep saying he's going to try to go to St. Louis or Tennessee, where his family is, which to me means if you don't have a means of transportation, you don't have money. He may likely doesn't have his phone. There's kind of conflicting reports about, if the phone was actually found by the taxi company, if they kept it, and whether or not law enforcement actually had it. I think it's not entirely clear, which is unfortunate. But I think that I don't know that I believe that he would linger there unless he had some, paranoia that was making him want to be off the grid. But if he's in that right frame of mind, yes, to me, he's still a missing person in a mental health crisis, and he needs help. And the grandmother was given bad information, that you can't report someone from St. Louis. That's not true. That is not true. And I'm also familiar with the exact hospital he went in. Yes, they will deflect a little on your first or second attempt when it's an adult involved. But if you push, they will, in Missouri, at least my understanding there was, that you can push, the hospital can push, that if they feel someone is unwell. But unfortunately, they didn't listen to the grandma when she's pleading and saying, this is not my grandson. How he is acting and behaving, this is not him. Help him. So her pleas for help went unanswered. So to me, he could be in a lot of the seedy areas. And they had said he walked over 70 some blocks. Well, he may not even know where he is. He may be in a situation that's not good for him. And So I don't think you shouldn't be looking in the Kansas City area, but I think that it absolutely has to be considered that he could have hitchhiked, and most people, would probably, consider hitchhiking with a trucker. I could see a guy doing that, which is why I say, truckers are on the highways. They see a lot. They stop at the rest stops and the restaurants, and so I think them having a flyer is like a huge resource, even if it's on their phone, to say, oh yeah, that's that guy that asked me back there if I was going in this direction, but I wasn't, or that's that guy that I took 2 hours east, but then I had to go north and he wanted to go south, you know. So and whether or not law enforcement is actively aware and involved in the St. Louis community and Tennessee, although I don't have a whole lot of faith in Tennessee right now. So he is someone whose face is not getting shared. Is it because he's a 19-year-old guy and he's not a small girl? I don't know. I just, it bothers me because there's hope in so many of these cases. It's like so much time goes by and you lose so much hope. But in his case, like I feel like he is probably in distress, and I don't know what kind of distress that is, whether it's mental distress, or maybe now he's in a bad situation. But I think he can be found, and so I'm planning to maybe just email flyers wherever I think I need them to be. And I would say 98% of businesses can have a color printer and can print off one piece of paper and stick it at their business. But if there's a way that maybe, some of the trucking companies that go through those main thoroughfares can email it out to their guys on the road, I think that would be valuable. So, and then I did write down a couple names that people commented, and I know sometimes, it could be nothing, but there was a couple people that mentioned like 2 different names. And yes, I already know and have looked into the girl. There's a girl who is just absolutely like, stop talking to me. Don't be coming at my Facebook page. I'm not talking about her. Actually, this is one of them is a guy, where people commented, that he was with XYZ while he was visiting before this incident happened. So I don't know if anybody saw that comment, if anybody has talked to this person, or if this person has spoke up at all. So I'm going to do a little digging to just kind of vet who this person is, make sure they really exist, try to communicate to see if they know anything, because I have went to great lengths to try to communicate with who I believe to be family members of his and maybe family friends that have been working with him. And I mean, it is just nothing burger, no communication, no returned comments or private messages. So at this point, I send what I got. I just send it, and hope. But thankfully, somebody did, like I said, reach out tonight, and I am hoping now I have somebody closer that can maybe say, hey, I think you need to pay attention, to this. And I already put it in, maybe it might have been one of the first 2 videos I did for him. I have a really, really almost parallel life experience in that very area, that I feel would be invaluable to share with someone in the family, but I'm not putting it out there into no man's land here. I've put that out there, but I've not heard anything. Yeah, I mean, Adrian, I see it being shared on, I believe it's KC, if for Kansas City, Discover. I think they share it every so often. I have a couple pages where, they might notify. It sounded like I did see the grandma commented that she felt good about the turnout for the most recent search. I believe it was the 20th. So that would be last Saturday. But she works in St. Louis. So when, she's got to go all the way there on the weekend to do her searching. And let's keep it real. In some of these big cities, they're just, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and a lot of people don't want to talk. A lot of people don't want their name out there. They don't want their face out there. They don't want to say what they know. And sometimes that means even if it could save a life. And that right there ties in with everything, every single case talked about tonight is people remain quiet, even if it means saving a life, even if it means telling the truth. It's just beyond me. And so, these are these different stories just that we've talked about in this video. Talk about, the importance of, understanding the mental health crisis in our country, understanding the meth crisis in our country right now. When I talk about Katrina Bauer, talking about the registered offenders that we are allowing into our worlds and near our family, our children, people not vetting the people that they allow into their cases, people not vetting the people that they allow in their home to sleep in the room next to their, their daughter or their son. A lot of problems here. And then you get to evil and sadism, and I don't know how you can't, in my opinion, I don't know if you can cure that in any way. It's just evil. But there's still people that aren't saying anything, like Jennifer Soto. First of all, I have very strong opinions that she was beyond just aware of what was going on in her home. I think there was some serious active participation in things that happened to that poor girl. I think there's going to be a lot more that comes out over time on this that involves money and a whole lot of people. And I hope they take down every single one of them, because so many times in these cases, the primaries get charged, but then all the little ones behind it, they don't get charged, but they're so culpable. So what are you left with? You're left with the second, third, fourth, fifth tier people. And then they are going out and starting their cults. They're going out and they're recreating the exact same thing, and nobody's doing anything about it. Nobody's reporting it. Nobody's speaking up. And we're just too smart of people that we can see when someone is malnourished. We can, a person addicted to methamphetamine, I can see it. It's visual. I can see when somebody has discomfort, if somebody comes near them or touches them, or how someone reacts to people's voices. It's not a special skill I have. We all have it. I mean, we're not paying attention to our children and how they react around certain people, or when they're saying, maybe I don't want to go, and I don't want to stay home today with Joe, Bob. I'll go, I want to go with you, Mom. No, I got to go run errands. I got to go to work. I got to do this, well, why are they asking? Think about it. What are they saying without directly saying it? I mean, what are you observing in church? What are you observing in the hospitals? What are you observing at school? What are you ignoring or just saying, gosh, that would be so uncomfortable if I talked about this parent that did that. I feel judgy if I said that. Well, no, everyday people could be out there saving people and babies and children every single day from heinous crimes like these if all they did was call out exactly what they see. And it does. It takes bravery. It takes courage. It's hard. Um, there can be repercussions like having your Facebook page shut down. You might have people coming by your house. You might have, people giving you the side eye at school because you made a phone call. Who cares? Who cares? These are the little differences that everybody could be doing every day while we try to figure out the bigger ways that we can stop these things from affecting our kids, which is why I have some requests out to a few people. We'll see if someone takes me up on it because I really want to interview and a couple from different regions because I'm really trying to get an understanding, but I am trying to interview some CPS, DCFS. The term is interchangeable depending on what state you're from, I've learned. But essentially child protective services investigators that are no longer employed or retired or just not in that position anymore where they are able to be interviewed to come here because I have a whole lot of questions. And not because I'm going to attack them. I feel like more than even maybe a psychologist or an attorney, a lot of these cases involve phone calls and visits with CPS. And I have for so many years had questions about why certain things happen the way they do in these investigations or when reports are made, and questions about the process and why certain results might have been the way they were. And so I'm hoping to get some of them to be willing to be interviewed, even if, and in those requests I said, if you just want to be a voice and you don't have to have your face on the screen, that's okay, because I don't know if they have anything when they work for those organizations that they sign where, even if they're gone, they can't talk about processes, but I wouldn't be asking them about cases in particular. So I think that would be invaluable to a lot of these situations. So as you can tell, I'm starting to lose my voice now. I did not have volume problems tonight. I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Huge shout out to Adrian for engaging and being aware, and clearly you're paying attention to some of these other cases that are not getting the attention as some of these others, and I'm doing everything I can to kind of stay off the Facebook groups because what a cluster. Wow. It is just like, it's a 10-ring circus, and it's shameful and just crazy. And the memes and the jokes, and I'm just like, whoa, wow, are we talking about a missing person here? Okay. But whatever. So I just got to kind of sometimes mentally break away from some of those things because we're all human, and in the blink of an eye, we can get caught right in it. And I shame on myself all the time when I do stuff like that, and I get myself caught up in some of the cattiness. So I appreciate anybody who did tune in tonight. Thank you again, Adrian. You're awesome. And again, go to the community tab. You can see articles and, faces and flyers, and maybe you can share those or just, screenshot them and reshare them on your social media pages, because they don't probably get much attention on YouTube, to be honest. They really need to be going around on Facebook. Let's get these faces out there. It's really sad that all this, there's so many cases going on, and then you think about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ones that you haven't even touched. It's overwhelming, just overwhelming. So, but we do have to remember that we have to take a breath and take care of ourselves, and sometimes put that phone down and those negative groups, and look around us and just remind ourselves of the good things we have and the blessings we have. And that you look at people like this, and we can make a difference. I think we can. And so I appreciate anybody who tuned in tonight. I'm going to be signing off at 8:30 tomorrow. Hopefully the court does have the live stream going. We'll be doing the Katrina Bauer hearing. I do not think I will be able to do the follow-up on the hearing right away, but we'll see how that goes. So it's a no school day for one of my kids, and so I'm anticipating a whole lot of background noise. And I'll work on getting that silencing mic, because I just tease my son, because you can just hear him going crazy in his room, playing his games and chatting with his friends. So anyways, you guys have a good night. Say some prayers for these beautiful souls, that we get them either peace and home safe, or we find a way to get justice and some solutions and some answers. And I hope you guys tune in again the next time we are able to do this, and don't ever hesitate to just jump in the chat and engage, because sometimes people's ideas are the ones you didn't think of, or they had a street name, or they had, saw a comment where someone mentioned someone else's name. I'll take that information and try to vet it, and see if there's anything to it, because you just never know. And sometimes, the families with these missing children, they can't keep up on all that stuff. So sometimes people who have really important information, it gets just buried and buried and buried down. And, the other 99% of us don't have cell phones and, contact with the families of the victims. So that is it for tonight. I hope you guys all have a great evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you'll be back again, and together we can try to stop the madness. Have a great night, and